Hey guys, my name is Sassy and this is going to be my video on my thoughts/predictions for the ESL Pro League. First off, I want to cover the formats for both of the regions real quickly. As the Americas, they've got 4 groups of 4 teams. The winners proceed to the LAN finals. The second and third team proceed to group stage number 2, where basically the top team from each of those groups, they proceed to the LAN finals. Over a total of 6 teams going through there. And over in Europe, the format is completely the same, except when you go to the second group stage, the top 2 teams from each group do proceed to the LAN finals there. But now we're going to get into it, starting off with the European division. Obviously, we've got some interesting groups, especially the group of death, which is obviously Fnatic, G2, Na'Vi, and Windigo in Group C. That's actually going to be a very interesting group, as obviously all of these teams in here, they do have potential. Obviously, G2, they haven't been really showing that lately. Windigo off of their G victory as well. So that's definitely going to be an interesting group there. On top of that, you've obviously got Fnatic there, who did play Na'Vi in the Star Series Season 7 finals there, losing 0-3 in the best of 5 there, falling completely flat, but still going to be a bit of a talking point within this group. Now, looking at all of the other groups within the European region, you pretty much see clear-cut teams that are going to go through, besides the exception being of Group A and Group D. And with those, obviously Group D, you've got Australis. It's pretty clear-cut that they're going to go through. But it's not really paved out for the rest of the teams. Obviously, you got Big, Hellraisers, X3D Max. So it's going to be a bit of a fight between, I reckon, Hellraisers and Big. Obviously, they're probably going to be going to the second group stage anyway. And then obviously in Group A, you got Mouse Sports, X-Space Soldiers, Optic, and North. Obviously, North Optic, sort of being interchangeable at the moment. North, they did show quite a good showing at the Star Series event there, but they did fall flat against Fnatic. Yeah, they might have taken a map off them, but they still didn't look that amazing, and it just looked like Fnatic, they were playing a little bit of bad Counter-Strike in that matchup there. Then over in Group B, there's Nip and FaZe, where you do expect those teams to be able to make it out there. Obviously, FaZe Clan falling short, getting reverse swept in the group stage of the Star Series event. And Nip, they made it to the quarterfinals, losing to Renegades in a pretty dominant 2-0 fashion. They did have a pretty decent game on the first map, but they couldn't quite do anything on the second one there. Now, Heroic might be a bit of a questionable one there. Might be able to upset a FaZe with how they're playing at the moment. Maybe even Nip. But you do expect with this format that Nip and FaZe should be able to get through. Obviously, they should be able to take down Devils 1, which will guarantee them to be able to get into the second group stage there. Now, overall for the European division, I see going through will be Astralis, FaZe, Nip, Fnatic, Na'Vi, Mouse Sports. And then that's where I get a little bit, I don't know what's going to happen. North and Optic, they seem like they could be able to do it. Obviously, G2 and Windigo, depending on how they're playing. Was Windigo's G victory, was it meaningless? Like, does it actually have any value to it? Big, they haven't been impressing me lately, but potentially they might be able to do it. Hellraiser's signing Lyle as well. I don't know if that's going to help them at all, but I feel like the next spot is really up in the air between, teams like North, Optic, G2, Windigo, Hellraisers, Big Clan. But out of all of these teams, I feel like North, with their showing at Star Series, I do have to give that one to them. And then I believe I've got another spot as well. So I'm just gonna say North and Hellraisers. Now, do excuse the lighting for the rest of this, as I did manage to smash one of my lights. Now, I want to head over to the Americas region for the ESL Pro League. But before we go over some of the groups, we're going to go over some of the team, being Renegades, Team Liquid, NRG, and Made in Brazil. Obviously, NRG, they did quite well at the last Star Series LAN, actually getting into the semi-finals where they lost to Fnatic. And then on the Liquid side, obviously, arguably the second best team in the world at the moment. Now, on Made in Brazil, the group stage of the ESL Pro League has always been a success for them, but maybe with the different format, with the best of threes, LAN environment, it might stifle them a little bit. Obviously the lineups of SK, Luminosity, they always did well here. Going to the Renegades, they've been doing quite well. They finally broke into the top 5. But the only difference is that they're not going to be having Gratisfaction, as he has been denied his visa for not being internationally recognized enough here. And potentially Jacob, he might not be able to make it as well. Smooya will be filling in for Gratisfaction, where on the Jacob side of things, Cutler will be the potential stand-in there. Now, going to Group A, normally you would see Renegades and NRG both being the favourites within that group, but obviously with Renegades playing with Smooya and potentially Cutler, that's going to put them down quite a bit there, as teams like E United and Ints, they're the other ones in that group. They could potentially actually take down Renegades, especially E United. We have seen Renegades lose to them in the past. Obviously, this is a best of 3. Smooya is still a great AWP player, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. Obviously, Renegades, they're really a team-based team, and that's what lets the individual prowess of JKS, Jacob, and everyone else to be stepping up there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do adapt. Now, NRG, I still see them going through there, pretty much no doubt. It just really depends on how Renegades are going to be able to perform with this roster change. Now, heading over to Group C, the first thing I want to point out is that there's only 3 teams within this group. I believe Rogue were the other team, but I believe they dropped out. But Made in Brazil, MVS, and Cloud9, this is going to be a very interesting one. Obviously, all of these teams are guaranteed to be able to get into the second group stage, so that's good, especially for Made in Brazil. Now, I feel like this is a very good chance for them to actually be able to get to LAN finals, make a bit of redemption for themselves. Obviously, best of 3s, they should be favourites against MVS and Cloud9. Obviously, Cloud9 at the major, though, were able to dismantle this Made in Brazil lineup, but there have been roster changes on Cloud9. Obviously, Cajun B and Vice have gone in for Zealous and Kiyoshima. This group for me is really between Cloud9 and Made in Brazil getting the first spot. So my favourites for this group is going to be Made in Brazil. Cloud9 should be able to rival them, but I feel like Made in Brazil, they're going to finally be able to come back. This is going to be the event where they're going to be able to kick it. Now, going over to Group D, I quickly want to go over this one. It's basically all of the Americas teams from South America. I think it's a bit of a replacement for what they used to have before, so that's going to be interesting. You got Team Daytona, Full Send, Isurus, and Denial. I'm going to go Isurus there. Nothing really to it, but I've seen them play a few times and I reckon they're going to be able to take it. But good for South America. They're going to be able to get a team in there, and it might not be Made in Brazil. Now, heading over to Group B, where you've got Team Liquid, Complexity, Ghost, and Lazarus. Basically, in that group, I see Team Liquid taking it out. It's pretty much like Astralis in their Group D. But Liquid, they should be able to take out that group. And then just really between Complexity and Ghost, I feel like Lazarus, they haven't necessarily been together long enough to be able to prove to me that they're going to be able to do much here. But I wouldn't be surprised if Swag and the boys are able to show up there and really prove themselves that they should be keeping that IEM Sydney spot. Obviously, they're not going to be able to get it back unless some miracle happens. But I reckon it's going to be between Ghost and Complexity to be able to get that second spot there. Obviously, they're both going to be going into their second group stage anyway. So that's going to be my thoughts for Group B. Now, to top it off, I'm just going to pick the teams that I think I'm going to go through. All 6 of them. Renegades, Team Liquid, NRG, Made in Brazil, Complexity, and Isurus.